Welcome in, everybody. I'm Reed Cowan. Breaking news out of the state of Georgia. You see him right there behind me. The man accused of killing 22-year-old nursing student Laken Riley found guilty on all charges. A judge wasted no time deciding Jose Ibarra's fate after Ibarra waived a jury trial. So listen to the judge in the courtroom just moments ago reading that verdict.
I'll now announce the verdict. In the state of Georgia versus Jose Antonio Ibarra, case SU 24CR0323, count 1, malice murder. I find the defendant guilty. Count 2, felony murder. I find the defendant guilty. Count 3, felony murder. I find the defendant guilty. Count 4, felony murder. I find the defendant guilty. Count 5, kidnapping with bodily injury. I find the defendant guilty. Count 6, aggravated assault with intent to rape. I find the defendant guilty. Count 7, aggravated battery. I find the defendant guilty. Count 8, obstructing or hindering a 911 call. I find the defendant guilty. Count 9, tampering with evidence. I find the defendant guilty. Count 10, peeping Tom. I find the defendant guilty.
And of course, on days like these, it's not about the person found guilty of murder. It is about the family who has sought so hard for justice. Let's go live right now and listen to comments from Laken Riley's mother.
We are asking that same be done to him. Laken had a beautiful and bright future. She was smart, hardworking, kind, thoughtful, and most importantly, she was a child of God. She had a personal relationship with Jesus, and she loved being the hands and feet of his hands and feet in this world. She shared her love for our Lord with others through her mission trips, working with elderly at the nursing homes, and through her nursing career. Laken was an amazing friend, sister, niece, daughter, and granddaughter. Anyone who knew her knew about her loving heart. Laken's life was not the only life taken on that day that Jose Ibarra attacked her. The life of her family and friends was taken too. None of us will ever be the same. This monster took away our chances to see Laken graduate from nursing school. He took away our ability to meet our future son-in-law. He destroyed our chances of meeting our grandchildren. And he took my best friend. He ripped away every beautiful memory we will ever be able to make with her again. This horrific individual robbed us all of our hopes and dreams for Laken. Your Honor, I'm asking you to please give Jose Ibarra the same thing he gave us when he made the choice to take Laken's life and destroy ours. He showed no mercy on Laken when she was begging for her life. There's no end to the pain and suffering that he inflicted on our family and our friends. I'm asking you to please give this monster life without any chance of parole so that he never gets the chance to hurt anyone else ever again.
This is John Phillips, Your Honor.
I'd like to thank Your Honor for the opportunity to speak today. I truly appreciate it. I heard in the opening statements from the defense that the loss of a life that was apparently full of promise is tragic. Well, I'm here today to let Your Honor and the entire world know that Laken's life was not apparently full of promise, but instead was abundantly and exceptionally full of promise, and was a shining beacon in the life of everyone that knew her, that ever came in contact with her. I'm so proud of Laken and the beautiful person she was. And while I could stand here and try to tell the world the things that made her such a wonderful person, as well as the many things we have all been robbed and deprived of, I think one of her last journal entries dated 12/17/23 says it best. So here we go. To my future husband. As silly as I feel writing this, my old small group leader once recommended it, so here I am. To my future husband, I want you to know that I'm thinking about you. I'm working every day to become the best wife I can be, by working through my current relationships to best prepare me for ours and our kids one day. I'm focusing on God and what He defines as a faithful Christian life, and so that I can best embody those characteristics. I pray that you know that it is with my full faith and trust in God that I know this relationship has been handcrafted by Him. I pray that we continue to glorify the Lord, prioritize Him in every aspect of our lives, and raise our family, our future family, to be God-fearing Christians as well. I pray God is the center of our relationship as it is a gift from Him. I thank Him for you before I even know you. I can't wait to love you in the best way I know how for the rest of our lives. I pray you know and feel the importance of my love and hopes for our relationship. No matter what challenges we face, I pray that our trust in God and love for one another overrules the obstacle. May our relationship last forever. Your future wife, Laken. That, Your Honor, was our beautiful Laken. That, Your Honor, is just a glimpse of what was tragically and brutally taken from her and us that day. The best daughter, sister, granddaughter, friend, and overall person that you could ever hope to meet. While it's true that none of our lives will ever be the same, we refuse to let this person rob Laken of the hope she gave to her family, loved ones, friends, and the world as a whole. We will proudly carry this hope on in her name in the days ahead and for the rest of our lives, because together we can all keep hope alive. So today, I plead with this court to protect the world from this truly evil person by sentencing him to prison for life without the possibility of parole for any reason, so that he can never have the opportunity to do this to anyone else ever again. Thank you, Your Honor.
Next, Your Honor, is Lauren Phillips.
Your Honor, I wish I could truly put into words how much the tragedy that occurred on February 22nd, 2024 has affected me, but I don't think I'll ever be able to do so. With that being said, I'm going to attempt with the best of my ability to do that for you today. My name is Lauren Phillips, and I had the amazing privilege of living with Laken Riley as my older sister. Laken was and will forever be my most favorite person. She was my biggest role model, and I looked up to her in every way. She brought the joy that I needed into my life and never failed to make me laugh. There was absolutely nothing that I wouldn't do for Laken, and nothing that she wouldn't do for me. Laken was my biggest protector, and I always had this sense of comfort and safety in her presence. We have been inseparable ever since the moment I was born, and I've been lost ever since she was senselessly stripped from our lives by Jose Ibarra. I now have this hole in my heart and in my life that I know will never be filled. I had to walk the stage of my high school graduation without my biggest supporter and cheerleader in the crowd. I had to finish my senior year of high school which most would say is the happiest and most surreal part of your life, it was simply the opposite for me. I had to turn 18 and become an adult without the one person I looked up to there by my side. I had to get accepted into my dream school, the University of Georgia, without my sister telling me how proud of me she is, and finally getting to live in the same town together again. I now have the burden of dealing with the fact that my best friend and sister will never come home again. She'll never send me another daily good morning text, funny TikTok, or silly Snapchat. The true sense of joy I felt when she would randomly surprise me will never happen again. I will never get to hear her infectious laugh or see her light of a smile ever again. I now get to explain to people when they ask me if I have a sibling that I no longer have one, and not just because she passed away, but because she got brutally attacked and murdered. I cannot walk around my own college campus because I am terrified of people like Jose Ibarra. My parents will never be the same after losing their daughter in this tragic way. Seeing their heartbreak is excruciating. We were once a happy family of 4, and now there is an evident hole where her presence is forever felt. We're a broken family of 3, struggling to find out how to live this life through the silence and emptiness that her absence has left behind. The joy that she brought to our home has been completely replaced with grief, and we are just left holding the pieces of a life that will never feel whole again. She will not get to be at my wedding and next to me as my maid of honor. I get to deal with explaining to my future children what happened to their Aunt Laken and why they won't ever be able to get to feel her love or be spoiled by her. All of these experiences were and will be stripped of me against my will, and I now live in a constant state of fear, anger, and sadness. I think about how my sister saw exactly what was coming and had no way of preventing it. I think about how scared she must have been and how that man is the only one to truly witness that scene. I'm not sure why he did this to my Laken, and I know I will never understand. I've waited for him to have a reason, but as the details of this case have unfolded, I realize I'll never get any peace or closure. What Jose Ibarra did to my sister is almost unbearable to listen to. I am completely disgusted having to even look and be in the same room as him. That predator is inhumane and is the epitome of evil. I have no doubt in my mind that the monster sitting in this room with us today is the same monster that encountered my precious sister on February 22nd, 2024, where he proceeded to attack, assault, beat, murder, and attempt to rape her. Jose Antonio Ibarra has completely and utterly ruined my life, and I can only hope and pray that he receives a sentence that ruins his. Thank you.
Prior to sentencing, you have been listening to family members speak about the man on the far left of that screen, Jose Ibarra, a murderer, somebody they call an animal, who took the life of this nursing student, Laken Riley, brutally took her life, and now the family is weighing in there, asking that the judge put him in prison forever without the possibility of parole. Manuel Bojorquez joins us live from outside that courtroom. These are days, Manuel, where we are reminded in the media, in the public and elsewhere, that when it comes down to it at the end of a criminal trial, the victims' families are the ones who are heard because they are speaking about somebody's somebody. These crime victims, after all, belong to real families.
That's right, and you're really getting a sense to hear the incredible loss that they are feeling there. Her little sister saying she has no sense of security, that this has traumatized her in her daily life. She has no way of explaining to her future children, she says, what happened to her Aunt Laken. You heard her mom refer to Jose Ibarra as a monster. Her mother has sobbed at times during the trial, given that they have had to bring up so much graphic testimony and evidence about the brutal killing of Laken Riley. The prosecution in this case asking for a maximum penalty of life in prison without the possibility of parole. When the judge issued the guilty verdicts in this case, he said he just could not ignore how overwhelming the evidence was against Jose Ibarra, especially DNA evidence. His DNA found underneath her fingernails, which the prosecution said is case in point the fact that there was a struggle, that she fought for her life as he attempted to rape her.
Yeah, she was out for a run and she wore that Garmin watch, which logged her heart rate. And I remember the day that the judge heard the testimony about the data that came off of that watch and the accelerated heart rate. That's why you heard the family members say it's almost impossible to listen to the details of the crime. Let's talk about the what's next, because we are watching what's happening in that courtroom very closely. At any minute, we understand the judge will issue a sentence, correct?
That's right. He's really not wasting any time in this trial. To set this up for you, the defense decided to forego a jury trial. So the judge is the lone decider here of Jose Ibarra's fate. He's already decided that he is guilty. Now he must decide on what sentence he will hand down. These victim impact statements are typical of these sentencing hearings. This is a time for the family to tell the judge, look, this is what we're going through. This is what this crime has done to us. And we're asking you to give him the maximum penalty. So we may hear from a few more relatives, and then the judge may hand down that sentence.
So let's talk about the guilty verdict that the judge handed down prior to going into a recess. He said two items really were very distinct to him. What were they?
Yeah, he said the overwhelming evidence in this case, the DNA that matched Jose Ibarra that was found underneath her fingernails. There was a jacket that contained both his DNA and hers that, according to the prosecution, he was wearing. And there's video, they say, of him throwing it away after the murder happened. So the prosecution, in wrapping up, said, look, Laken Riley has given you, judge, all the evidence you need to convict this person. The defense tried to poke some holes in the DNA testing procedures that were used, saying that they're not reliable, but the judge did not see it that way clearly.
So talk to us about what we reported yesterday. At one point we thought that Jose Ibarra's brothers or a brother would take the stand. What happened there?
Yeah, he has two brothers that he was living with at the time of the killing. One of the strategies of the defense here was to say, look, maybe it was one of these other brothers. So the defense wanted to have those two brothers on the stand. That ended up not happening. There was concern by the attorneys of one of the brothers who are undergoing their own immigration cases that could impact negatively his case. So they ended up not testifying. The defense instead chose to just rest their case. They've had a much shorter witness list than the prosecution here, but those brothers not testifying, the guilty verdict handed down, and now we await the sentence.
And we are looking live right now as we have this conversation with you inside that courtroom as the judge sits there and goes over these victim impact statements. Manuel Bojorquez, thank you so much. I anticipate during this broadcast we will be coming back to you and to this case. We appreciate your coverage so much.